Now on Denver 7 News on Local 3, tragedy hits a quiet Loveland neighborhood.
We usually don't see that around here. Everybody hold your kids tight.
Well, fortunately, 3 children are safe this morning, but likely traumatized as police investigate a double murder in their home.
Being fully vaccinated isn't enough to guard against Omicron subvariants. The new boosters you'll soon be able to get.
And it's day 3 of Broncos training camp. You'll notice some players sporting unusual helmets, and not all of them are in love with the new gear.
Kind of feel like a bobblehead.
You know, they do give me kind of Lego vibes.
They do.
But the thing is that they're for safety. The first football helmets were just leather.
Right,
so
right.
I'm sure when we move to the ones we
come
have
a long
now.
way.
Yeah.
But you're right. They look like Lego heads there.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Congrats, everybody. We made it to Friday.
Lisa Hidalgo here, looking ahead at a weekend. We might need a hat that has like a pop-up umbrella. That would look would look stylish too.
Those are sexy too. Yeah, so much so. Right now we do have in the mountains some sunshine. Beautiful at this point. Now it's 7:01. There through Winter Park, you've got a little more sunshine there than what we're seeing here in town right now. It's going to be, again, still on, the semi-cool side today. A little warmer than yesterday. Starting off, though, with some partly sunny skies. Low 60s here on your dog walking forecast this morning, and then low 80s right around about 5 o'clock. So we're going to hit highs that are a few degrees warmer than yesterday. Denver 80s. It looks like Fort Collins and Greeley low to mid 80s. Cooler to the southeast, though. It's not often that we see 70s when we're in the 80s here, and you're going to find down near Pueblo, La Junta, Lamar, a better chance for, again, some pretty good rainfall there. Now, when you look at our risk of severe weather, pretty low here, light green covering the entire state. So we'll see some general thunderstorms today, but there could, again, be some flooding rain. A look at some of the flood watches coming up in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the cameras down in Ouray and Ouray County, and we do have some wet roads down that way. Right now here in Metro Denver, you can see some of the low clouds actually kept the helicopter from flying this morning. This is the westbound side of 270 right here at Vasquez, and you can see that traffic is very typical. But look at I-25, way better than average here at 104th Avenue on that southbound camera. There's that southbound side right there. Here's northbound, and it is just breezing along through 84th Avenue. You can see that on the travel times as well. Looks really good. The only congestion is really across downtown. I-76, 270s you saw is still a little busy, but better than average for the moment. That doesn't mean we're not going to see a lot of traffic get onto these freeways here in a little bit, but right now at least it looks good on and off the highways.
Breaking news this morning. One person is fighting for their life after an apartment fire in Aurora. This happened at a multifamily home near Quincy Avenue and Buckley Road. Aurora Fire Rescue says the fire is now under control, but there is an active gas leak.
And we are following new developments this morning after a double murder in Loveland. Police confirmed late last night 2 people were shot and killed, and a suspect fled, then eventually killed himself. Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is at the scene near Aries Drive and Pavo Court, that is. And so sad to hear this one, Russell. 3 children were found hiding in that home.
Yeah, so sad, Nicole, and a lot of questions still, but all indications are this was a family. As you mentioned, there were 2 murder victims inside the home in this neighborhood, and then there were also 3 children in hiding inside the home when police arrived, and police say they were able to remove those children safely. We're still trying to figure out what exactly the condition is of those children. And then, as you mentioned, the suspect fled the scene, went down to Erie, and apparently killed himself down there. We have some video to show you from yesterday afternoon. Police say it was just after 2 o'clock when they received a 911 call about a weapon here. It was at that same time neighbors tell Denver 7 they heard 2 loud bangs, which they now know to be gunshots. Then there was screaming from women and kids apparently. Neighbors describe a flood of officers pouring into the neighborhood with guns drawn and surrounding the house. And after about 45 minutes, neighbors say they heard a flashbang outside the home's door, and that's when they saw police go inside, presumably to rescue those 3 children.
We get out here and look, and there's just people, guns drawn. I mean, the SWAT team was here, and just kids screaming in the streets, and it was just like, what is happening here? And you could just see something in the yard. There was a white sheet over it, so I just all of a sudden went into a panic, and it just didn't look good.
Your heart just breaks for those 3 children and this community in general. Police have named the suspect as possibly being 49-year-old Javier Acevedo. Police say Acevedo fled the scene here in Loveland, went down to Erie, which is about 30 minutes south of here, and at about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, someone reported him walking around with a rifle. So police down in Erie issued a shelter in place for several neighborhoods down there, and then they came back about 30 minutes later and said the suspect had shot and killed himself. We're still working to learn more information about this case. We'll have all of that as it develops throughout the day. For now, we're live in Loveland. I'm Russell Haythorne. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Russell. And take a look at your screen here. Fort Collins police are looking for this 15-year-old boy. Tegan Pixley Johnson is wanted for attempted murder after a shooting yesterday. It happened near Overland Trail and Mulberry Street. Police found a 28-year-old man with multiple gunshot wounds. They believe the victim and Pixley Johnson know each other.
We'll see an updated COVID booster this September. The efficacy data is limited, but the updated shot is expected to be stronger against the Omicron subvariant BA.5. It's become the most dominant strain of the virus in the U.S. and much of the world. We spoke to a local doctor about the importance of boosters in the coming months.
Where we sit at the moment is the variants are coming out at a 5 to 7 month rate. And they're divergent enough such that getting boosters every 6 months or so is going to be a really good idea. I would say probably for the next year. After that, we're not really clear on how the variants will spin out. Whether that variant development will be on a 6-month time scale, will it be on a 2-year time scale? And so our boosting regimen, recommended boosting regimen, is really going to be centered on that rate of variant generation.
Right now, only Americans 50 and older and immunocompromised people are eligible for a second booster. If you've had COVID, hopefully you were only sick for a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, but some people have symptoms that last for several weeks and even months later. A new research study is looking for those people. There are more than 80 study sites around the country, including in Aurora and Denver. You can learn more on the website recovercovid.org.
Well, parents, no reason to panic, but if you have a baby, you do need to know about a health advisory from the CDC. It's about a virus called parechovirus. You might not have heard of it, but it's spreading across several states. Children's Hospital Colorado told me they are seeing cases here.
For the parents of very young infants who may hear about parechovirus and be a little more concerned, is there anything you should do if you do have a very young infant right now?
Absolutely. So a fever, so a temperature greater than 100.4 in the first 2 months of life is a reason to go see your pediatrician or a local ER immediately. Those babies do need to be evaluated. The majority of them don't have an infection and don't need to be treated, but we are very cautious in that age range.
Yeah, this can impact children up to 5 years old, but it's especially dangerous for the very young infants. And he mentioned watch for a fever, also a rash or poor eating, maybe a symptom as well. At Children's Hospital Colorado, they do have a spinal fluid test that can tell them within 2 hours if a child has a common viral or bacterial infection.
It's day 3 of training camp for the Broncos. They'll be back out at the UC Health Training Center at 10 this morning.
Now, once again, Russell Wilson started his day 2 by running the field, high-fiving the front row of fans there. His wife Sierra and the kids were also there to cheer him on. And when you're headed out there, maybe this weekend, you may notice these unique helmets the players are wearing. They're called Guardian caps. The NFL has made them mandatory for all linemen, linebackers, and tight ends. Our sports team asked the players how they like their new headgear.
They're kind of ugly, but
they're not necessarily the best fashion statement. I was thinking about wearing one, but I decided not to.
Kind of just makes my head feel heavy. Kind of feel like a bobblehead, man. I feel like it adds it gives me -5 speed on Madden.
We have a joke in the line room. We won't be getting any good pictures in training camp with these on.
Well, jokes aside, the NFL found that these caps reduce impact severity by at least 10%. And we want them safe, certainly. Denver 7 is your home for Broncos training camp. Tomorrow, we will have special coverage of the Saturday session starting at 7 a.m. Not the best place to take a nap. The deep sleeping Colorado man going viral for what happened in this video.
I'm John Mattery. As you try to stay hydrated this summer, you might see a lot of electrolyte replacement drinks. Are they the best idea? That story coming up.